Yo, what's going on, guys? Gonna be going over today's trade recap. As you can see, we got the face cam rolling. Anyway, we did say we're gonna get a face cam after the first payout, so yeah, let's get into it. I'm gonna start uploading a lot more on TikTok and Instagram. Not today. I'm gonna start that on the weekend, maybe if I have spare time. But definitely starting next week, we're gonna be going pretty heavy on TikTok and Instagram. So let's get into today's price action now. Unfortunately, I actually wasn't able to trade today. Reason being was because I was actually still requesting a payout. So I can't really touch the account while I'm getting, while the payout's being transferred and all that jazz. So, yeah. With that in mind, let's get into market open and what I was thinking coming into today. So overall coming into today, I was leaning short-term bullish, right? Reason why I was leaning bullish is we do have this monthly gap. Now this monthly gap is massive, so I do not expect for this to be the final reaction off this monthly gap. It could be, but I'd say we go down lower here. I'd say we probably have a little bit of messing around in the range, and then we eventually come down to C, and then potentially make a move higher from there, and we'll see. But coming into market open, you can see overall market structure is pretty shit. I'm not gonna lie, it stinks. Who cares? We have a pretty bullish bias coming in today. Reason being, of course, because we're delivering from sell side, right? We're inside this monthly gap, so this is a sponsored move, and we displaced right through this. We came into this hourly gap, we failed to move lower off it. We respected a bullish hourly gap, so here we go, disrespect versus respect. We have a bullish hourly gap beating a bearish hourly gap, and then we inverse that bearish hourly gap. And then what did we have yesterday, which was very, very significant? We had FOMC, right? So FOMC was yesterday in the PM session. I'll go over here, as you can see. This is obviously FOMC. So with this in mind, this is a very good draw on liquidity, right? There's a bunch of liquidity, there's a bunch of orders resting above this high because this is the high that the FOMC created. So there's going to be a bunch of orders up here. So coming into today, delivering from sell side, disrespecting bearish, disrespecting bearish, respecting bullish. We have an extremely good draw above us. It's that simple. Come on, that's it. It's that easy. Bullish bias towards FOMC highs. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. That's everything. So yeah, let me get rid of this massive gap on my screen. So coming into market open, I wasn't really specifically looking for a Judas, right? The reason why I wasn't looking for a Judas play was because the actual state of this higher time frame structure, it was just poo. Like if you look at the 15-minute time frame here, obviously it's just slanted lows, slanted highs. It's just, there's nothing. So the thing about me, apologies. The thing about me when it comes to fair value gaps is I love fair value gaps. Obviously, we have 2 hourly fair value gaps here. But if there's no good structure, I like to look at like the 30-minute and the 15-minute. 5-minute, meh, okay. Even the 5-minute was looking trash. But when we have an hourly gap, in particular, I'm talking about the hourly gap, I want to see like a 30-minute or a 15-minute swing low within one of these gaps. Now, even if the gap is unfilled, that doesn't matter, right? Because we can still have a swing on the lower time frame, such as the 15-minute or the 30-minute. It's just a liquidity pool and the unfilled gap, which is a lot nicer, right? So the 15-minute might look like this, but then the hourly looks like this. And the gap is here, right? And then this 15-minute low is inside this hourly gap, right? And it's still an unfilled hourly gap, you know what I mean? And those are the kind of gaps that I like. I'm not a fan of like empty voids is what I call them. So it's just a gap with no liquidity pool in it whatsoever. We had a huge one of them recently, with the 4 hour, if you want to look at the 4 hour, I don't know where it was it like up here? Yeah, okay, so up here. This is like an example of just empty voids, because it's like one 4 hour gap, another 4 hour gap, there's a bunch of 4 hour gaps, and if we go to like the hourly or the 15-minute time frame, within that huge leg, wherever it is, I think it's this here. Yeah, you can see like, look at this, like the swing highs and stuff inside this gap, they're just disgusting, right? They don't look good, they don't look clean. No, sorry, this is it here. Yeah, here it is. Look at the 15-minute time frame. And this is that huge leg on the 4 hour. And there's literally not even a singular 15-minute swing high inside of this huge leg. Like, that's just, no. Like, how can you predict that we're going to react off of a random gap? ICT works, but don't get don't be delusional. Don't be stupid. Like, that's just a joke, right? So with that in mind, what I was coming in today, I was really, really heavily looking for a sponsored continuation. That's what I wanted to see today. However we might have presented that. So coming in, I'd like to see like market potentially up and lower here. Obviously preferred would come into this hourly gap and then we get a move higher and potentially like a sponsored continuation here in the form of a 15-minute fair value gap or a 5-minute fair value gap to send us higher, targeting those draws being the FOMC, right? So that was what I was really wanted to see today if I were to take anything. Everything else was sort of like a no-go for me, right? So coming into market open, let's see what we do. A trash market open. So market actually ends up opening lower here into a 5-minute fair value gap. And yeah, like what? I'm not taking any trade here. I'm pretty sure there's like a 30-second or something. That is extremely hasty. If you're on evaluation accounts and you want to like do anything with evals, sure. This is something called an eval trade. It's trash, but you can see price going higher and you can get in on it and you can capitalize off of it for your evaluation accounts, right? It's like a little bit of a gamble. But this market open is straight poo. Like, we do not want to see us come into a 5-minute fair value gap when you have a premium, like the most premium gap in the leg was this 5-minute fair value gap. We had a 30-minute right below and then we had an hourly below as well in a much better discount. Still in a premium, but still like a lot better manipulation that you'd like to see happen, right? So with that in mind, we actually end up sort of just accumulating here for no reason and then just sprinting higher. And when I seen this, I was like, okay, yeah, the day is probably chopped. So we end up taking FOMC highs, and then we still have a pretty good draw above us, which I actually didn't even realize. But we had an unfilled 4-hour right here, right? And this unfilled 4-hour was significant. Why was it significant? It was because we had New York PM session highs from Monday resting right below this 4-hour. This is a good gap. This is a good gap to target, and that's the gaps I like, right? So with that in mind, we had I think it was 10 a.m. No, not 10 a.m. Or was it? Yeah, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. ends up manipulating, so we had a 10 a.m. PO3 into a 15-minute fair value gap on the S&P 500. So we had an SMT inside of a key level, right? I'm not sure where it was. I think it could have been the 15-minute fair value gap was like here. And then we had an SMT with this key level, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just have a look, actually. Make sure I'm not full of shite. Yeah, okay, so here it is here. We had this 15-minute super premium gap, but because of how bullish we were, I don't think this is like ridiculous to not take. This is definitely a valid trade, and we have a very good draw above us here. We have even more slanted highs to target leading up to that unfilled 4-hour, and pretty good draw overall, definitely, like completely fine. But if you did fade this, I also 100% understand why you would, because it's super premium, so 100% fair to fade. This is one of those trades where it's like, if you have conviction, you take it. If you don't have conviction, you don't take it. Almost like every trade. So we have an SMT inside this 15-minute fair value gap, and then we got a 3-minute inversion. Highest time frame inversion here was this 3-minute candle. And what I like about this in particular is that the break even here is like almost like guaranteed. Like there's no way we don't go to this internal high for you to be able to have a risk-free trade in that sense, right? So super bullish, very aggressive bullish day. And yeah, that's what we were targeting. So for me, with this trade, if I would have 100% taken this, by the way. Like, I love trades like this. I would have taken this for sure. We have like that premium premium gap getting tapped and just super aggressive bullish price action all throughout the session. That's going to kind of show that we're going to keep this up, right? So here it is here. Here's the trade. 1-to-1 is, I think I had it marked out. Yeah, it's like right here. And this is what I wanted to take today, but obviously I couldn't trade because I was taking a payout. So here we had the 3-minute inversion. And then from here, we kind of started to mess around a little bit. And then obviously there on this candle here, I would have been break even, which is the 1027 candle. I would have been break even here. And then I would have hit take profit on this trade. Right. Nope. Where was it? Hold on. Where's the 1-to-1? 1-to-1 is, hold on, 83.75. 83-ish, right? 83.50, 83.75. Wait, did I? Hold on. There it is, 83.75. So it actually would have been like the most lucky trade ever, I'm not gonna lie. I literally wicked the 1-to-1 by like a literal tick and then reversed. Which is super strange because we actually ended up reversing fully. And we didn't even go to this unfilled 4-hour. Let me actually see if we ended up going to it at all. Let me just play out price action. Okay, we do. Right. Oh my god. That is the worst price action I've ever seen. Oh, here we go. Oh. There we go. Okay, eventually. Right, it's just really poo price action, but we do eventually end up delivering to that drawn liquidity after having a higher time frame retrace, even though we were like literally, what, not even 10 points away. Super, super strange. Not really much of a reason to do that, but hey, I guess we did it. The S&P 500 was also kind of on some bullshit. So this is the trade that I would have ended up taking today. I would have went for a 1-to-1 here. Actually, this is all hindsight, because I could have potentially targeted the 4 hour. But what I do feel how I definitely would have acted in the moment was once we came up to like this area here, and then we actually poked past the 1-to-1, I would have probably really aggressively trailed and would have got like a winning day out of it, if anything. So that's okay. Honestly, really solid trade. Definitely traded the day in my opinion, without question. Even though it's not really that good, I'd probably rate this like a B plus, maybe A minus. Because if you had conviction, this trade definitely made a lot of sense. And if you decided to fade this trade, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. I think this trade is definitely something that you can fade. Because obviously, look what we do right after that. We come down and we come into a more discounted gap for us to actually generate more liquidity to then move higher and then target this 4 hour, which we do end up hitting in the end, right? So yeah, overall, pretty fluid price action. Terrible market open. The market open stinked. And that's what kind of like determined the rest of the day, just being pretty poo. But honestly, this trade here, trade of the day in my opinion, pretty easy break-even, risk-free trade, almost, because it's very close here, and if you're not going break-even here, you're kind of being a little bit silly, because the S&P 500 was acting very bad, but yeah, so for me, if I took this probably either would have been A, full TP if I just went for the 1-to-1, or 2, an aggressively trailed stop loss, which would have probably made me like 300 or something on the day, would have been whatever. Okay, so yeah, that's the only setup I ended up liking today, and that's it, honestly. Everything else, if you took anything down here, I really don't recommend you continue to do that, because this is just really, really, really poor. Anything within here I think is fine, and if you decided to fade that, I also respect that. I think that is also fine to fade, if you did not have conviction. So yeah, with that in mind, I'm going to wrap up today's video. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'm going to be documenting my entire journey to profitability. We're after climbing over a pretty big hurdle, I should say, as of recently. In the last video, we ended up getting our payout, the first payout ever. So we're going to be continuing to grind, and yeah, obviously not going to let any ego get attached to that. There's not going to be an ego, not going to be any bullshit. Not going to change the way I trade just because I made some money. Like, that's a joke. Like, that's what losers do, and that's why they blow accounts right after it. I'm kidding. If you do that, it's hard. Sometimes people do catch an ego, and it's unfortunate. But I definitely won't be catching an ego. I'm going to be trading the exact same way I always have been, and slowly but surely, we're going to start scaling up. Hopefully, going for another payout with this account. I want to try to get like 3 payouts with this account before I decide to scale up, or just until the account's gone, or I get requested to move to live, or whatever it may be. And then on the next set of evaluations, I'll probably end up buying 2 or 3 evals. We'll see what happens, right? We'll see when that day comes. We'll judge for that. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'm going to have my Instagram, TikTok, and Discord plugged in the bio of this video if you guys want to go check them out. Give me a follow on any of those platforms if you want to, and shoot me a DM, and I will 100% respond if you have any questions that are trading related, if I can help you. And yeah, so except for that, I will catch you guys in the next video. I hope you have a blessed rest of your evening, or morning, or wherever you are in the world right now. And yeah, except for that, peace.